Hey, hey.
Hello, everybody.
We're in a different room. Can you
We are
tell?
definitely.
I was watching a video. Well, first of all, we've changed our room that we're normally in. It's not an office. It's a bedroom right now. Is it not?
Right now.
Oh, wait. We always forget. You've got to introduce us.
We're waiting for people to hook in.
We are. So we're just kind of talking because I don't want to waste your time if you're already watching.
Right.
But anyway, so we have kids coming in because we're going to celebrate Christmas.
A delayed Christmas.
I'm so excited.
So now we've been pushed out to the living room, which we may or may not do again. I don't know. If you like the way it looks, let us know.
Well, we are out here right now because my office is a bedroom and I cannot use it, which is okay with me because I'm getting ready for my kiddos to show up on Thursday. So we got a lot to do, but we didn't want to miss this week, and we are talking to singles. And let me tell you something. Please, you can share this video. I want you to go share it. I'm going to see if I can clear out some of these things. Just go away. It won't go away.
No.
They drive me crazy. Anyway, because I can't see us, and I talk to me like I'm talking to y'all. But anyway.
Right.
Facebook
bubbles.
There's a share button down there somewhere, and share this with your friends, especially if they're single. But, go ahead and introduce us, and then we'll get started.
Well, obviously, this is another episode. We took a break for the Christmas holidays and New Year's. We were very busy with what really matters, literally, with our family.
With our families.
And now our kids are coming in for round two, but...
Y'all, my tree is dead. Y'all should see it, but it's beautiful still.
It's right over there.
Can I turn it?
Oh, boy.
No? He says no, not to turn it.
I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, it's a flock tree, and it's holding together because it's been flocked. Otherwise, it'd be all on the floor. So
it's still really pretty.
This is our next episode of What Really Matters, and this is my lovely wife, Michelle. I'm Todd, and we had
Toddy.
We had a couple of people request that we do a topic that's a little bit different than we've been doing, which was...
Well, we've been talking on marriage.
Right.
And kids, and things we've done wrong, and things we've done right, and...
Now we're going to back off a little bit before the marriage.
We want to expand that, of course, with different topics, so y'all give us whatever you want to hear about. But this time, tonight, we are talking to singles. And what you should do while you're waiting for a spouse. This was a special request by a friend of mine who wanted us to talk about this because there's a lot of people out there that's single and they don't want to be. So we decided we would take this topic on. And we've had people, a person ask us, how can you even talk about being single? Y'all been married for 30 years. How can you talk about it? Well, because we've learned a lot about being married. We learned a lot from other people, and we raised children that are now adults that are married, that they're all very happily married. Our youngest is not. He's still at home, but and I think we did a great job. So, yep. I mean, we're going to apply some of those to this.
We had good advice from a couple of pastors over the years that we took to, as well as Joe McGee and...
Right.
A few others that
Steve and Karen Weaver were huge.
Yes, and we applied that to our lives, and particularly with our kids as we were raising them, pointing them in the right directions. It really helps make decisions across the board. It doesn't matter what you're doing, single, married. This process works in all of your endeavors, and they're all based on godly principles, and you will get a godly outcome as you go through this process. It just works. And
okay, I'm going to ask y'all a favor because I don't have my glasses on, so I cannot see my phone as far away as it is right now. When I see people are on and coming on, I can see it scrolling through. I think I see Yvonne's name. I thought I saw Tiffany's name. There's a few more. Michael Reed, I thought I saw his name. So, not to call you people out, just saying. I like to say hi. I want to know who my friends are watching, you know. So, comment, hey, or with a wave or, I don't know, a heart or something, just so I know you're here.
And if you can't hear us, I don't know, put a whole bunch of X's on the screen.
Yeah, if you can't hear us, tell
hear
us. But I'm pretty sure you can, hopefully.
It's a much bigger room, so the acoustics are radically different.
Everything's different tonight.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with, I see hearts, and I think that's Yvonne. I think I can see that with my little squinty
Always
eyes.
welcome a heart.
Hey, Yvonne! Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started because this may be a lengthy topic. This is the longest set of papers I have ever had.
We can go quickly
on one of these things, and I thought, oh my goodness, but it's not going to be
hang in there
bad.
with us.
It's not. And any questions or comments y'all have along the way, please do it. Okay, just let us know and like and share. And okay, we're starting. Right?
Yeah, let's start.
I'm just super excited to be back.
Say? Oh, 10 minutes. All right.
Have we already been on 10 minutes?
Yeah, 7, 8, whatever.
We started late. Okay. First of all, we're going to start with what you need to know if you're single. Okay? Because this is what we're talking about. Now, and a lot of these topics that we're about to come to in tonight's segment will apply if you're married or single. It doesn't matter. But right now, we are talking to single people. Okay? Don't think you're second best. Mm-hmm. And singleness is actually a gift from God. Paul speaks of it as a gift in 1 Corinthians 7:7. And Jesus says, it is good for those to whom it has been given. But that doesn't mean you're going to stay single just because you're single right now. And I know there's some ladies out there and some men that have gone through marriages and divorces, or maybe they just stayed single for a long time and now they're ready for marriage and they're just tired of being single. And I hear you. I get it. Because I wouldn't probably want to be either. But we're going to share another thing. Singleness has advantages. Did you know that?
It does.
There are some advantages to being single.
Actually,
you don't have what?
I thought this was kind of neat. You had dug it up and put it in here, and I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. I never really thought about what you're about to say.
Right. Well, okay. So Paul mentions there's a couple of advantages to being single. Listen up, married folk, because I know most of us work really hard at making sure we have a good marriage. And most of us really give off this great impression that everything's perfect. And the reason why we're doing what really matters is because we want you to know it's not really perfect. And we're okay with sharing with y'all the stuff that's not perfect and what you can do to help remedy that. But the single people out there, wave your hands. You're spared the troubles of marriage. Some couples make marriage look like it's always roses, but you know what? There's manure along the way. And manure, it does what?
It does smell a
It
little.
stinks. And you can actually devote your time as a single person more to God. Married people are, of course, supposed to put God first as well, but then you need to take care of your spouse and your children and your family and yada, yada, yada. So there are some benefits to being single. We're going to get into the next one. We're not quite ready with what to do while you're waiting, but we're almost.
Saying, the part that I thought was neat was, when you're single, that your right next down the line there's you and God.
Right.
And your responsibility can be directed totally into the ministry.
Right.
And that connects you with all kinds of people, places,
yeah, because once you get married, your ministry has to drop. Unless you're doing it together. I don't have the order, but it's God, your spouse, your family, your children, your work, and then the ministry. That's how that's supposed to work. That's the way God intended. Okay, so we're going to also, you have to understand, we know singleness is hard. Being single is really, really hard. And when God saw Adam in the Garden of Eden, he's like, I don't like this. He shouldn't be alone. Well, God created us for intimacy. He created us to be intimate with Him.
Right.
So we're going to crave, as a human being, we're going to crave intimacy because that's why you were created, right? Mm-hmm. So while you're doing that and you're waiting, while you're getting lonely, you have to do a couple of things like, pray. And you need to find some friends that are good friends that you can hang out with and your family. But you have to be the one to take initiative to call them because
you're always say then nobody calls
me. A lot of times, and I'll speak for myself, I've got several single people in my life, several. And I feel really bad because one of my friends was like, we hadn't gone out to dinner in 6 months. And she's like, you need to call me. Well,
everybody says that. And
I'm
nothing
working
happens.
and I have a husband and I have a child and I have this and I have that and I don't think about it. Which is like, am I a good friend? Probably not. But I'm trying. I am calling her way more often right now, though. So, but the reality of it is, she's working. And a lot of these people have actually been married before and they have kids. So their responsibilities are great, too. But it's harder for us to know as married people when our single friends are lonely because they're not going to talk about it.
It's true.
So the initiative has to be taken by the single person, if you hear me.
It is true.
About being together.
It doesn't seem fair, but it is true. It really helps. Before the pity sets in, take initiative, take action.
Make a phone call.
Even had times where we're trying to be more friendly with different people, and we felt really awkward at first, trying to make these connections. It seemed forced. Just relax. Just make the connections. People like you. They love you. They're going to reach back. You don't have to be, don't run down someone's throat with it. But just casual context. Keep active in that thing. Make it your business to befriend other people and stay active in the friendship realm. It's easy for when you fall off when you're not involved with families and marriages. It's easy to never have enough time for that. But when you're single, it kind of comes in boredom or loneliness, and that's where you need to fight it by getting active.
Okay, one more thing, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what to do while you're waiting, because that's the important part. So the last thing I'm going to talk about with singleness is it's not permanent. Even for those who feel like you're going to be single for the rest of your life, and maybe you've been single forever, you know what? You will be married, and I'll tell you when. Even if it's not in this life, we're getting married when we go to heaven. That's a wedding. You realize that, right? We're the bride. All of us, we're the bride. Okay, so I know that's not what you want to hear here, but most people will find who it is that God has for them, and that's what we're going to talk to you about next. Is what to do. Oh, wait, did I miss anything? No, we're
really.
good.
No.
You had already covered it in all your talking.
Yep.
So,
You're
talking because you don't usually talk. Okay, so again, we've got a lot of new people coming in, and it comes and goes. This is Hot Toddy. This is Todd Wyatt. I am Michelle Wyatt. We do what really matters, where we talk about good things and bad things from our 30 years of marriage, things we've done right, things we've done wrong, how we've raised our kids, what we've learned in hopes to help others. So this week we were asked to talk about, what singles can do to prepare themselves for a spouse. That was essentially the topic. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're covering. And we're going to ask that if y'all get anything, if you go to What Really Matters and like our page, there's a lot of episodes from before now.
It's true.
Especially for marriage. And some for kids too, raising kids. So
they all link
we've
together
got,
so well.
They're just kind of, anyway. So now we're doing single one. Like and share our page, like and share our videos. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what to do while you're waiting.
There we go.
Number one. This is number one, and I am so guilty of this.
The practical rules.
Go.
Conquer your insecurities. Yeah, that means you got to get busy. Got to figure out what your insecurities are. I know somebody who had some insecurities.
Still do.
Why don't you tell us about them?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. Because I still have insecurities, and I try really hard not to. But
okay, we all have insecurities.
Yeah,
some
but
of us
mine's
have
a little
lot more
overboard
than others. So
and
here we go.
That all these people keep telling me how awesome I am, and how awesome or how much my husband and children adore me. And I'm like, have you lived in my house? Because there's no way. Anyway.
We just show it differently than
I want it. This is where the love languages come in. So go watch that video.
That is very true.
So anyway, I've had to learn to become secure in myself in order for this to work. Okay, so if you're single and you have major insecurities, and I'm talking women, we have more insecurities than men do. I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying. There's a lot of comparing your physical body types, and I'm overweight, so, hear me talking here.
Right.
You think you're ugly,
Colors,
you think your
fashion,
hair,
gaps, all
you
these
think
weird
your hair
things.
is,
I don't know.
you don't have the thigh gap, whatever. All the garbage that's been fed into us, you know what I'm saying? So we have all those insecurities, but until we start doing something about that, you can't really look for going into a relationship with a ton of insecurities and doubting yourself. So you've got to learn to be secure in yourself. Now, unfortunately, for this guy here, when we got married, I mean, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of garbage, and the insecurities are still kind of getting worked out 30 years later. But you have to do things like pray and read your Bible to build the security. Am I hiding? Oh, there's somebody I think I want to. It won't let me. So we're going to pray and read our Bible, make relationship with God strong, and be aligned with Him for our life. We're going to be honest about our faults and strengths, and we're going to start doing the things that we need to do. There's a few things that we could talk about, but the big thing right there with that was
What?
I'm reading.
I don't know where you were going with
So,
that.
no, I don't either. So that we can conquer our insecurities. That's our big thing, is get your insecurities under control.
There's nothing more unattractive than a needy person, and that's true to yourself.
Right.
And it's true to others.
And most men will tell you, women, it doesn't matter a lot of times, even if you're overweight and you may not have the prettiest face or whatever out there, that when you're confident, that they see the confidence, and that's what they find attractive, is somebody that's not going to be needy. That's huge. That's a big deal.
It sounds like we're talking just to ladies here, but I'm telling you,
no.
from guys' perspectives, that's the number one thing. Guys they're one of two things. They're either way intimidated by the person that they're trying to talk to or get to know, or they're way over the top. Neither one of those are very good. Be you. Be real. Be approachable. And I know these are all cliche things to almost say, but the insecurities or the self-doubt that you have really comes across as a strong wave, as a first impact. So that's one of the things to really, really work on.
Yeah.
And be true to yourself. Recognize that you have some of these issues. We all have some. There's absolutely everybody has some.
We have several points here we're going to make
Right.
about what you need to be doing. And some of the most important ones are towards the end. So I want y'all to, if you're watching or if you're doing this on the replay, come back at the end and make sure you catch the big stuff. But
big
along
finale.
the ways, because all of this really is going to be what you need to do for yourself.
Right.
So the next one is going to be get rid of selfishness and give more than you receive. So you have to be honest with your level of selfishness.
My level of selfishness is very, very high.
Up there.
High.
How high is my selfishness?
Almost not. You almost have zero.
I'm learning.
To a fault, actually. We're opposites in this regards.
Right. And I'm learning, though, to start kind of having some, because there is a like, you got to stand up for yourself. Yes. Same goes for women. Yes, exactly. Teresa, I was thinking about that too, and then I was trying to get on. Women don't want a man who's insecure and kind of wimpy either.
That's very, very
and you
true.
want that man to be confident in himself. That's what you're going to find attractive about him. And I mean, look at, he's very confident. So, so you cannot enter the marriage with mindset of me, me, me. And you have to learn, of course, to practice love and be a servant. You've got to be a servant to others. This, again, we told y'all some of this is going to apply to married people or single. And the reason why it can cross over is because when you're single, you should be doing these things so that they are incorporated when you find your spouse. It just kind of goes hand in hand. You're going to be walking that walk. So you're going to want to learn how to take care of others and help them. And if you're single with no kids at home, you should be getting involved in helping others in your community or your friends or your family or something
You're
like
not
that.
going to find someone at home.
Right. And I mean, and it's hard especially for
Person
singles.
you're looking for is out there.
So, well, we're going to get to about praying them in. So, the next set is
put aside pride. Kind of plays the same way. Once you get all your insecurities, take care of the other part. Where are you prideful? Where are the areas that are strongholds in your pride in your life? Make yourself approachable and real.
Right. And there are some things that I didn't realize was pride, and it actually is. And it was more of I lost my brain stopped. Something I did, and somebody's like, yeah, but that's pride. And I was like, really? Because no. But anyway, I don't know. My brain stopped. It'll come back, and then I'll tell you. So whenever it comes back around. So with the pride thing, you have to learn also you're not always going to be right.
That's correct.
You have to learn to apologize. There are times with families that you got to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to say it, whether it's between spouses, parents and kids, kids to parents. It goes all the way. Siblings to each other, cousins, aunts. It doesn't matter. Friendships. You are human.
I battle with that terribly. Saying I'm sorry is a very difficult thing for me because I'd rather be right.
That's one of our biggie issues. In fact, tonight on the way home from work, I was so upset. And the main reason I was upset was because he wasn't going to apologize over what had happened. It wasn't, what had happened was a big deal, but
I made the mess. Totally 100% made the mess.
But he wasn't going to own up to it, and he wasn't going to apologize for it. And that's what I was angry for. And that's when he's like, well, you're just going to be angry. Can you apologize? So
work on that kind of stuff.
Yes,
and
because
we talked it out a little, and it's still kind of out there a little bit. But
no, we're good. We're good. I brought it up tonight because it happened to be something that happened today. And I thought, well, the thing that we do is share our shortcomings.
Right. That's why
that's why we do it. And so, did I stay angry a little too long? Probably. But I was trying, to get him to understand what I was upset about. You know what I'm saying?
Let's say that I actually learned something, and it better not happen again.
Oh, yeah, the next time this happens.
Not because she said so, but because it shouldn't happen again.
Right.
That's why.
Yes. Okay, so apologize. Put aside your pride, the next one is going to be you need to learn the value of commitment and making a promise. I have to tell you, over the years, it's been hard for me to always keep my promises to my kids, and I had to stop. I had learned.
Right.
Was it Joe McGee or was it the Weavers? Somebody talked about it. Broken promises, like to your kids.
Broken promises to your kids.
Because you're like, well, we'll see about doing that later. Well, we'll talk about doing that later. Well, oh, sure, honey, I promise you we're going to do this when you know full-heartedly, you are not going to be doing that, right? And so you kind of do this to just get the child to hush or whatever. So when
Actually,
you're going...
it goes into Steve Weaver's... It moved all the way into his discussions about it, saying that even when you say you're going to pray for someone, that's how we learn to stop and pray, because when you don't, that's another broken commitment, and people recognize you don't keep your word.
Well, the part I was going to talk about is that when you are making promises, the one person you're not going to keep a promise to is yourself. And when you don't do that, then you're going to stop keeping promises to everybody else. So especially while we're talking to singles, married people, this applies to you too. But single people, if you cannot promise yourself that you're going to do, X, Y, Z, I am not going to eat a piece of cake this week, or I am not going to have a diet Dr. Pepper, God forbid, this week. That's my struggle. Because that's my struggle. Oh, we were in a restaurant today that actually had it, and I was just like, nope,
Why
I gotta
aren't you
have
having
another.
Diet Dr. Pepper?
Because I'm fasting
There
them.
you go. All right. Just so they know.
Yes. So the commitment to yourself. If you can't keep a commitment to yourself, you're not going to keep a commitment to your spouse or to your children. You're going to break those little promises. And over time, those little promises kind of add up. Your kids are watching you, and your spouse is going to go, well, why would you do that to me? That's what I did today. Why would you do that to me? I mean, and it's really not a big deal what happened today. We're making it out to be a big deal. I'm going to tell them what happened because I don't want them to think it was like a big, bad, ugly thing.
Yeah.
We have the kids coming in. We're going to have Christmas. Woo! I'm so excited. So my babies will be here Thursday. I mean, they're not babies, but my babies will be here Thursday. We still have all the Christmas decorations up. We have not done anything. We have not opened presents. Everybody's going to be here
outside.
together.
Neighbors think we're nuts.
I mean, it's going to be Christmas this weekend. I'm so excited. Anyhow, he's asking to say, he comes up to the desk. If you don't know, we work together. So he comes up to the desk and he says, don't yell at me, which means he knew he was already doing something wrong. Okay? But can I set a meeting for Friday? No, we're going to Austin to see your parents. Our kids and us are driving to go have Christmas with your mom. Oh, what about Thursday? No, Quentin's flying in. We got to go pick him up from the airport. Drayton's driving in Thursday morning. I'm getting my nails done with Crystal that morning before the boys get here. My life is full of my children for the next week, okay? You're not making a meeting. You know what he did? He made it for Monday.
It's not that
For
week.
Monday.
It's
Not this week. But we're off till the following Wednesday. We took a whole week's vacation. All I want is one vacation where he doesn't work. Just one.
Yeah, I
but
haven't done it
no,
yet.
he's going to drive into the office, which is an hour drive, and then he's going to have a meeting, which would be 2 or 3 hours, and then he's going to drive back. That's 5 hours away. I know, this is really minor, but for me, it's not.
It's a big deal if you never have vacations without.
I never get a vacation without it, and so he did this anyway. That's what happened today, and that's the whole stem of that argument. So the next one.
Well, and that ties into the.
Well, we've got new people. Let's go over.
Hold yourself accountable for your thoughts, actions, failures, and successes.
Right. Well,
I may have failed this time.
Yes, you did.
I was trying to do. I was trying to do something to kind of make everybody happy. Sometimes you can't make everybody happy, so you have to figure out what your priorities are.
And this time he picked the wrong priority because he put work above his wife, and that is not how God intended.
That's not how the pyramid goes.
It's not.
It is not.
So, okay, so those who are tuning in now, because we're kind of into this. And we got a lot of people who's popping in. I see different names scrolling by my screen. It doesn't show a lot actually watching, but sometimes I think it kicks out because I know that there's times that it just kind of goes crazy up there. Anyway, so we do what really matters. We talk about our lives and where we've messed up and where we've done right and hope that you learn from it. That's really kind of, and then we talk about what really matters. In life.
And what qualifications do you have?
I've lived, I'm
married for how long?
30 years and been alive for 51. There's a lot of stuff I've done right and a lot of stuff I've done wrong. So I'm just sharing it. And I've learned a lot. But this time we were asked to talk to singles. And so we are. Yep. And we are on our 6th point of what to do while you're waiting to find a spouse. And I see several friends who's just come on.
And by the way, all these
y'all say hi. Give me some comments.
Yeah. And by the way, almost all these principles, we haven't done all of them with our kids, but we've done them with the family over the years. We've seen the successes come from it. We've definitely
the biggest
seen
one's going to be towards the end.
Yes, they're coming up.
We're getting there, but the really big ones is going to be towards the end.
Yep.
Okay, so here's one that's really big for me, and everybody thinks I'm a little over the top. Can I talk about it since it's my big one?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about it because here's the deal. I have real issues with how much sex and nudity and all of the things is. It's not just in movies anymore. It's all over your television. It's all in your radio commercials, for God's sake. I can't even turn on my television anymore without seeing stuff. And you're just like, I don't even want to watch TV anymore. I'm probably over the top, and that's fine. Y'all can think that if you want. But when you're married, you should be practicing purity, except with your spouse, right? So, because you would be lusting, which would be committing adultery. You know what I'm saying, right? You hear me? You feel me? Right? Yes. So while you're single, these are things that you should be doing. Now, we are talking
you're saving
from
that for that spouse.
you're saving it for your spouse. So the whole point of practicing your purity is it doesn't matter what society says, that it's okay to go sleeping around with, I was going to say a phrase that was going to come out really bad, so never mind. Caught myself off guard.
Wow.
What?
All right.
Okay, so no matter what, just take care of yourself. And even if, let's say you've already, like I had already been married and divorced. So of course, I was not sexually pure when I met him, right? Okay, can't go backwards. But I can save myself for my future. And that's what you should do as a single. We are talking from a Christian perspective, but I'm also thinking just for your own physical, emotional, psychological well-being, it's better not to do a bunch of that.
Not even to mention
and then
medical,
you have,
yeah.
You're right. And then, it causes soul ties. And you're going to get married and you're going to have all these soul ties for all these people you slept with before. But I'm just saying, be careful with what you watch, what you listen to, what you read. And then you need to be focused on one day you're going to have a spouse. Did you save yourself for that spouse? Did you pray for that spouse? Did you take care of yourself? Right now we're talking about with your purity, but I mean, even physically or spiritually, are you taking care of yourself and making yourself ready for that spouse?
And even if you are in the situation where you're like, well, there's been some slips. All right, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Just stop and move forward.
You just stop and go on. The whole point is break the practice. Gets back to responsibility.
Right.
It gets back to being committed to yourself,
right.
Committed to your future spouse. It's a commitment issue, and it's a practice issue.
Hey, Becky!
These things sully your soul. They sully your soul.
Yes.
So let's try and
that's a big
limit
one.
that as much as we possibly can.
And it's really sad because everybody makes jokes about porn and stuff, and it's really a bad situation because if you allow that when you're single, it's such a hard addiction to break when you're married. And I can tell you now, I would not be married to somebody who's got the porn's on all the time. Just not going to happen.
Yes.
So
No.
I think I think people are so, that part you got to get under control. If you want to have a good relationship. I mean, it's all about the relationship you're going to have, right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, enough on that one.
Let's get
We've got several points. Now, these are more down home we're getting to.
It's like, yeah, we've heard this, but, this one here you're going to talk about?
Yeah, you are.
All right, yeah. And, of course, then this is the big one because, what's the name of the Christian financial guy?
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey talks about it all the time.
Dave.
Manage your money. Manage your household.
We did not do a great job because neither one of us were budgeters or money managers. And it took us a while to get things under control because nobody was leading. We were just like going with the flow.
Right.
And, we made some big issues for ourselves. And but we got it together.
And I mean, a balanced budget means a balanced marriage. So if you're single, if you're all out of control and in debt and running all over the place, that's a major turnoff to anyone looking at you because you're a liability. And I know that sounds terrible, but that is a big part of the relationship. An unbalanced relationship like that with a very balanced person who's very controlled with their money and committed to these things, and they meet up with somebody who's not, that is not going to work out well. That is a mismatch from the get-go. And it's unnecessary. It's difficult to break sometimes, but that is an issue that of all the things that breaks up relationships, money is always at the top.
Right. So just, budget your money pretty well. Now, we're probably going to go a little long because we're almost done, but not quite. Next would be study God's idea of marriage. There's a lot in the Bible. Go look it up. I mean, Ephesians 5 is huge. There's a bunch of stuff. Look up. You can do your search on that.
Right.
Managing the home. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing, people. Because I taught my children, all four of them, how to cook, how to clean, how to do their own laundry. I have 3 boys and a girl. Thank God my girl was first.
Change a tire.
She helped. She did learn how to change a tire a little bit.
She popped a few.
The nice part was, though, she still had her brothers who could go and help her change a tire.
True.
But she could do it. So I can't. But we taught them to do everything. So, my boys that are married now, they're helping around the house. They're helping cook. They're helping clean. They take care of their laundry. They don't have their wives do it for them, which I'm super proud of. And the wives, they're not just sitting on their heinies doing nothing. They're doing their part too. So it's coming into like an equal thing, which it's supposed to be. So you want to be able to make yourself, learn to cook. Nobody wants burned food. Occasionally I still burn food, but I'm a good cook. I mean,
you're a good cook.
I am a good cook. As my kids would tell me, Mama, you're a good cooker. I'm a good cook. I know how to clean.
I can sizzle a few things.
I can fix things. He can do it all too. So he can. So the reality is, you're both going to have to be doing this in your house together. It's not going to happen, especially if you're both working. You cannot expect one person to be doing it all.
Once again, if you meet up with somebody, and we'll talk about where you meet these people here in just a minute, but that person wants to see that you're able to take care of yourself and not be needy and not be leeching on. They don't want to have to think that you need that other person in order for you to function at 100% for you. The two independents come together and grow really well.
But wait a minute. I'm going to tell a funny on you.
Yep.
If you're good with that.
I don't know. I'm going to find out after you say it.
Okay. So at the beginning, I cleaned all the time.
Yep.
Because I have a cleaning problem and I wanted it super clean. So I was cleaning all the time. Hey, Tina. So I cleaned and I cooked. And I packed his lunch, and I got up, and I made his breakfast, and I did it all. And you know what? He wasn't helping.
I was more than happy to let you do it.
He sat there and did nothing. He even said one time, why don't you do that with your makeup and your hair done? Like, so I could be cleaning
just
house.
Just a suggestion.
All just, fixed up for you, babe. So I stopped doing everything. And he goes, it's kind of getting dirty around here.
I'm not living this way.
I don't want to live this way. And I said, well, good. Then help me. Because I am not doing that alone. Oh, well, good. I had a real problem with it, Tina. I've seriously had to pray and get help with that. Really. I mean, it was bad. Now I have somebody who does it for me. So I just kind of turn my eye in between the cleanings, don't I? I do. I try. Okay. So.
Let's just say the refrigerator doesn't come out every day.
No.
And clean behind it.
No, not anymore. Become a praying husband or wife. Okay, so important. And there's books. Did you know that? Power of a Praying Husband, Power of a Praying Wife.
Just to name a few.
Awesome books. And there's a little prayer at the end of each chapter that will give you a prayer. So you don't even if you didn't read the book, even though you should, you got the little prayers with some scriptures just in there. Just go get it. So
that's part of taking action, by the way. All of this is about taking action.
But here's
Prayer
the deal:
is about your most positive action.
But you're single and you're waiting to get married, right? Yeah. So you think, how can I be praying for my partner, my spouse?
I don't know who they are.
I don't have one. I don't know who they are. You still pray for them. You want to know why? God knows who they are.
Yep.
God knows who He's picked out for you. So
But
pray.
you do know who they are. You know the principles. You know God's principles. You know what we talked about earlier about what a Christian marriage looks like biblically. Those are all descriptions of your future spouse.
Well, you're going to ask. Okay, so we're going to get through this praying for them, and then there's a couple of things, and I lost the one big thing that I wanted to say. It's not even in my notes, so I'm about to say it so I don't forget
it.
Okay, so before I finish this. Here's what I want you to do if you're single. Yes. Here's a big thing that you need to do, okay? You need to make a list of all of the qualities that you do want in your spouse.
Right.
And all of the qualities you don't want in your spouse. All of us are different. You're going to want something different in your spouse than what I wanted in mine, okay?
I bet that's true.
I'm just, everybody's different. So make this list. And then I want you to look at your list. And then I want you to see on the qualities that you do want from your spouse. Do you have those qualities
Right.
to offer? Because if you don't, you might want to fix that.
Right.
Okay, the qualities that you don't want in your spouse, that you're asking God to bring you a spouse and he
How many
doesn't
of those
have
do you
those or
do?
she doesn't have those. How many of those do you have that
Yep.
you need to work through? Your biggest thing is going to be when you decide what you want in a spouse and you start praying specifically along the lines of those qualities, then you need to make sure you're in line with God on the qualities you're asking for. Because
You're asking for them to be equally
because
yoked.
you're, equally yoked. Isn't that amazing? Because that's scriptural, y'all. It is. So now that I've got that out of the way, because my brain was going to stop and I was going to forget, we're going to get back to praying. Ask God to place the person in your path. Some of you cannot get out of where you are. I have a friend in my life that they're working like 3 jobs. They're the single mom, and there's not really a place for them to go find their spouse. You know what I'm saying? So it's really going to be hard for them to like people say, just go to the clubs and stuff, which is a bad place.
Obviously, that's not
And I don't mind internet, whatever, depending, because some of those relationships have worked out, some are really bad. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't really have a way to get out of your environment to go find a spouse and put yourself somewhere else out there,
New faces are
you
in new
have to
places.
pray. Yes, but if you don't have that
I know.
ability, then you need to bring them into you.
Right.
So this is where you start praying. God, I can't get out of my area, whatever it is. I can't get out of, I can't get out of Houston. I work too much. I've got too many things. I'm not going to go to a bar. I'm not going to go do this. I have kids at home. I've got certain things. I need you to bring my spouse to me. I need you to bring them to me, because in a path, I don't care if it's a grocery store, to your church, to your work, wherever, God will make sure it happens. You also need to ask God to keep, I'm getting all confused.
In connection with what you're just saying, while you're praying for that person to cross into your path, you're obviously speaking and listening to God.
Right.
He's going to reveal to you the places that you will be able to possibly find that person. So you'll find enlightenment, almost an epiphany, to different ways that you've actually had never considered before, where those opportunities could present themselves to you in your unique situation.
Well, I pray for divine appointments a lot. Not necessarily for me, although I probably should be doing that. But I'm not looking for a spouse. I don't really think about that. But divine appointments come in many ways, where you have the opportunity to minister, to pray for somebody, or to find, Mr. and Mrs. Right. There's a lot of divine appointments out there God has.
Right.
So you need to pray for those. Sometimes it could be nothing more than just smiling and saying hi while you're walking down the grocery aisle, or, somebody new in the church, or, I don't know. There's just different things, but then you need to pray for discernment, because when that person comes into your life, you want to know that that's the person, right? You want God to tell you things. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I'm leaning up. My glasses aren't on, and my phone is way
over there.
away from me. And yes, we are praying. And Tina, we'll be praying in agreement with you. When I met him, he was an atheist and I was a Christian, and yet I knew I was going to marry him. And I thought, that's really weird.
This is not the way to do it, by the way.
That God would show me that I'm going to marry this guy.
Right.
Because he ain't even a Christian. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's a very low chance.
But God gave me the discernment so that I would know it. And that's what I'm telling you. Ask for discernment, because I didn't give up on him, because I knew that's who it was supposed to be. And look, 30 years later, we're still doing pretty good.
Well, based on that, what actually happened in this unique situation, because it's very rare that this would happen, and nor would I recommend anybody search out and do this method. But for us in this particular situation, when these things were revealed to her, she adjusted the relationship to grow me towards God.
Right.
It gave me the opportunity to show, if I loved her, will I take a step this direction? If I didn't, I'm out of here. And although it wasn't great steps at the beginning, there were some awkward steps and maybe a couple of backward steps. It did, because of that praying relationship, establish a new order in the relationship that really called me forward. So those are the kinds of things.
I mean, he became a Christian. So I mean, that's what mattered to me, was he became a Christian before we got married, and all was good. But the my big thing with that is, when you're praying for your spouse, you're praying for yourself as well, to have discernment. Pray for your qualities to match what your spouse is looking for. Go over your own qualities. So now we're going to go, this is going to be kind of like the final wrap up over, for those who are single. Thank God for the gift of singleness, even though it's hard and you don't want to be single. He's put you here for a reason.
Everyone's single for a season. Everyone.
For a season. Sometimes some people it's
true.
Longer, and some people it's shorter. Different reasons. Maybe your spouse has not gotten past whatever it is they're needing to get through. Who knows? I don't know why you're maybe not married yet. Nope. But God does. So keep praying and trusting Him. Mm-hmm. Do all you can do to be godly, because, whether you're married or single, you're going to strive to be godly and live a good Christian life. We're supposed to strive to be holy, right?
Right.
Not to be selfish, not to be prideful, that kind of stuff. This is your big one right here. Yeah. This is it. Ooh, this is the one that we raised our kids with, and it worked, right. And we're so excited.
We've done a lot of these different things, but here's kind of the big bang of the whole thing right here. I shouldn't mix theory with religion, but you know what I'm saying.
Everything we've said tonight should apply in some way.
Absolutely. We learned early on that there's a process by which you generate momentum towards your future, and that was what we taught our kids. You keep your eyes fixed on heaven. We always asked our kids, whenever they were making decisions, how does that advance you towards your goals of heaven? If you're looking for a spouse, everything you do, how does that advance you finding your spouse? Which means, if you find somebody out there, how do you go about finding that person that you're going to be coupled up with? Well, we used the little narrative of running a race in life. When you're running a race in life, we're talking to our teenage kids now. That's what we're telling them.
The boys were much younger than Crystal. Crystal was already dating. So I didn't want to change the rules on her, or I would have, if I'd have thought it wouldn't have caused a big issue, I wish I could have gone back and do it again and changed the rules for her. But what we did teach them, and I'm taking over and I'm sorry, is to never date someone that you wouldn't consider marrying. And that means they're going to be a Christian. I mean, because we were raising our kids to be Christians, right? They were Christians.
But that's okay.
Right, but that was way before all the other stuff. So everything we did wrong in getting together was wrong, but we don't mind sharing that part, because it turned out okay in the end, by God's grace. I'm going to give you that.
Absolutely.
So you need to find...
So when you're running this race, which means you're going to get involved in your church, in your community, in ministry, and you're going to look... And you're working and doing God's work. That's what you're called to do. It's kind of what we're commanded to do. As we're spreading the word, getting involved, you're going to look over to your left and you're going to look over to your right. And there's going to be people that are there doing the same thing. These are your people that are in the race with you. They're in the same station with you in life. These are all candidates for you in terms of really good friends and possible spouses. These are the people that are going to be the most precious to you. because because where you are right now in God's word and God's ministry and God's place is where he's had each of you come to. So everyone has had a journey to get there. When you look over to your either side, that's where you're going to find that other person. So when the kids are wanting to go out with someone, we're like, well, tell us a little bit.
But they
how
didn't.
are they?
That was just it. Our boys never.
No, they didn't. How would they be in relationship to you? You don't ever have to ask that question, because what happens is we already know these people. We've been around them for weeks, months, years, and they're already a part of our life. We're already introduced to everything that there was. It's a completely natural process. And we never had the boys ever dated.
They never dated unless it was marriage material.
That's it. They
Drayton
were totally
had,
marriage material.
Let's see, Quentin had one.
Why would you date somebody you wouldn't even want to marry?
Right.
It makes sense.
Quentin had 2 girlfriends, one for just a couple of months that was at our church, and then one for several years, and then Katie that he's married to. My point being with that is either any of them were definitely people that would have been somebody that he could have married had it been the one. Katie is definitely it. Drayton only had really one other girlfriend before he met Jillian, and of course they got married really young, at whatever 20, 21. So,
and let me tell you, in order for that to happen, you got to have a lot of confidence in the fact that these 2 kids were at the same place, the right place.
Well, God put them together,
God,
just
so
like
you know that
both
this is
couples.
Ordained.
But even with, I'm gonna throw this one out there for you, singles. Okay, so my daughter is getting married back, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago, and I didn't want her marrying the guy she was going to marry, and I was praying him out of her life because I didn't think he was good for her. And God told me not to be praying. That was a soul prayer, and that was none of my business, and that he had picked him out for her, and for me to stop it because I was praying out of line. So I stopped it.
You got a little aggressive in your prayer.
I got a little aggressive, but it had worked at all the other times. Let me tell you, it had worked every other time.
She sent many a boy packing.
This time, God corrected me. I mean, it was like he stood in front of me, and Cody knows this. I won't hide it from him. I've been honest from the get. I love him dearly, and
goodness.
he's been a great
We
husband.
love the guy.
He's just awesome, and I'm really, really happy that God knew what he was doing, and I didn't get involved in all that good stuff, and I stopped praying that way.
There are people that are being worked on as we speak.
But God knows who's going to work for you, and that's who you pray for. And you find people that you know that you can trust to be praying in agreement with you. And this is all about singles and what you do while you're waiting, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of the stuff we talked about tonight can be applied to you as a married person.
Sure.
On how you're supposed to be with your spouse, or how you should be with yourself to your spouse. Because as a single Christian, you're supposed to be really preparing for that one to come in. And I'm going to brag on my youngest son, since we've talked about all the other kids. He had one girl that he kind of wanted to kind of go out with, and he hid it from us. And I found out about it because that's what mamas do. And
Little bird?
No.
Godly.
No, this
discussion.
was a totally different. I'll tell you. I'll remind you later.
All
You
right.
already know.
I do.
So anyway, I found out, and he had this little friend, and they went out a couple of times, and then I was kind of trying to actually at that point encourage it, and he was done. He didn't want to anymore. And I said, well, why not? Why don't you want to go out with her? And he goes, well, because you've always taught us if it's not somebody we would marry, we shouldn't be dating them.
The words came
And
back.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's a really good reason. Yeah.
Okay.
So, whether you're teaching this to your children or whether you're applying this to your life, those are things that you need to do. So we're kind of at the end. We've gone way over because this was a big
topic. One little
topic.
piece in there. I actually discussed this principle with a couple of Christians in my office. We were having a discussion one day, a couple of years ago, actually, and including my employer. And I was shocked that there was a discussion about this, and I was kind of called out on the fact that was weird.
That's what we taught our kids.
Nobody does that. Nobody would teach your kids to never date, because our whole thing was we don't date. We create the relationships like we described throughout this whole video so far. But they were just like, that's weird, Todd. Nobody does that. And I'm like, well, I'm here to tell you.
It was successful
it
for
works
our kids.
for our kids. And it worked really well, and in a manner that you know that it's working, especially when your youngest one comes back to you and says, I have no business with this person because they bear no fruit to my future wife.
Right.
That is what it's about.
Okay. So as always, we're going to pray. If you've liked this video and you got anything from it, please comment, let us know, like and share this, like and share our page, because we really want to be helping others. And the big way to do that is to get our friends and family to share whatever they've learned from. If you go to What Really Matters, our page, which is linked in this video, like it so you can start catching up with that. We do a lot of prayers in there and what have you. So we really appreciate y'all watching, and we will do this every couple of weeks. We have another one planned for 2 weeks from now. We're in a new living room for all of you who are just now catching us. We're not in our office because my kids are coming home and my office is a bedroom.
Wish I could show you my new furniture down here.
So,
but we won't.
Anyway, let us know if you like this setup better than the bedroom where it was all
Does
little
it look
bitty,
better, sound better, look whatever?
I kind of like it better.
Yeah.
I do. I kind of like it better. But anyway, we're going to pray for you right now. So, me or you?
You.
Okay.
I think it's my turn, but you.
I think you did the last two.
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Father, I thank you and I praise you, and I just ask right now that you be with all of our single friends that are watching this video. Lord, we come against loneliness and the feelings of being forgotten. We come against anything that makes them feel like they're second best.
Right.
Lord, we know that you love them and that you have somebody picked out for them. Lord, I pray for discernment for them. I pray for divine appointments. I pray for their spouses to be exactly what they're looking for. I thank you, Lord, that you are preparing them now to be the spouse that you are calling them to be, Lord. We're calling forth husbands and wives right now that are leading and preparing themselves to be where they should be for their future spouse. We thank you for that, Father. I thank you and I praise you. We give you glory, and I just ask that you would minister to each one this week. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Oh, okay. So, well, thanks, Theresa. So we just prayed for everybody. And if you need prayer, just kind of send us a message on something, whether it's this or something else. It doesn't matter. Send me a message.
Sure.
And we'll pray. And we don't share it with everybody. We don't talk about it. And we just like to pray for people. So if you have other topics you want to talk about, this one that we did tonight was because somebody asked for it.
It's true.
So, and it was
a good one.
It's a good one because it's really for married and singles. There's a lot to cover. So y'all have a great evening. We've got to go make beds and get things ready because we have kids coming. Did I say that already?
That's true.
Okay,
and
so
since
now
it's still Christmas for us, Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
New
Christmas,
Year.
Happy New Year. I'm gonna get really close to y'all. I'm gonna see if I can show y'all if you're still on here.
Oh, no.
Looky at my tree. It's still
It's not
up.
turned on.
It's not turned on because it's old. Look at it. It's all drippy. And
Well, that was fun.
But we're keeping it up for our kids. So when we have Christmas.
One more week.
Oh, Nancy likes the living room too. Yay. Okay. Oh, it feels like home and family time. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, we had fun, and we will talk to y'all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.